Raj escaped Sri Lanka's bloody civil conflict by paying people smugglers for a place on a ramshackle boat. He's Tamil and doesn't want to be identified to protect his family back home. After nearly a month at sea, the last few days with no water to drink, the craft is one of the 12 or so intercepted each month by the Australian Border Patrol.
We had to flee because our lives were in danger. I fully understood the risks of getting into a boat, but by doing that, at least I had a small chance of surviving and having a normal life. In Sri Lanka, I would have been dead by now.
Raj spent 6 months in a detention centre before the authorities ruled he could stay, but making it through the system so quickly might prove lucky. Asylum seekers are a hot election issue. Both leading parties vow to close onshore detention facilities like this to boat people and stop their arrival by processing the refugees in third countries in the Pacific. The ruling Labour Party proposes East Timor, but Tony Abbott's opposition coalition wants to send asylum seekers to the island of Nauru, where there's no obligation to respect international human rights.
The Conservative coalition parties in Australia have been beneficiaries of the asylum seeker issue because the bulk of their base seems to agree with their general attitude of a somewhat harder line on the issue. The Labor Party of the centre-left often finds itself in difficulty on this issue because its constituency tends to be split.
Only 1.5% of the immigrants who come to Australia each year arrive by boat, and last year the country took in just 0.6% of the world's refugees. They're often settled in Sydney's western and generally poorer suburbs, making the issue there all the more controversial.
I think we've got too many, but I think they should stop the boats completely.
Let them in, mate. Give them an opportunity. Yeah, they do something wrong, then you can send them away, but just be fair, mate. They're people end of the day.
Afghan refugee Riz Wakil fled his homeland after his cousins were killed and his brother kidnapped by Taliban insurgents. 11 years after his traumatic journey, partly by boat, he's married, has 2 daughters, and runs his own graphic design company.
People around me here are very supportive of my business, of what I do, and I think if there might be some people who are concerned, but I don't think they represent the majority.
Whichever party wins Saturday's election, it seems it's about to get harder for refugees to make it into Australia. That's not going down well with human rights groups. They say Australia should be leading the region instead of trying to avoid its international obligations.